night, the city of Lagos went agog as all routes.
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CORETV News.
Welcome to CORETV,
a 24-hour news station.
The President Jonathan administration has also declared amnesty for members of the Boko Haram sect. Series of integration programs have been lined up for the members of this sect who will surrender their arms and embrace peace. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of the federal government to call on the members of the Boko Haram sect to embrace the government's gesture and key into the amnesty program.
Yes, welcome. It's nice to have you this lovely Monday morning, the 2nd day of June 2014. The federal government is once again offering amnesty to Boko Haram. Or are they right or are they wrong? It's the government speaking with one voice when one minister says time for the insurgents to shed their swords and come in to talk. Is the presidency confused over this matter? Because one says on behalf of the president and another on behalf of the president, one of his aides says that is not correct. So what are we supposed to believe? The amnesty issue on card for Boko Haram, or should Nigerians be thinking, is this the way out, or what is the government actually talking about? The federal government's amnesty U-turn, time to check it out. Who is fooling who? We the people are still suffering insurgency, terrorist bombing all over. Who knows where is next? Should these people come in for amnesty? That is what we're discussing this morning on Core Digest. You can follow us on the Facebook, www.facebook.com/CoreTV News, or on our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. That's our Twitter handle. But of course, you can watch the program on YouTube. It is also available on youtube.com/CoreTV, _News. This morning on the program, we're joined by Olabode Oshifowora, a lawyer.
Bosun, Oshifowora.
Oh, it's Bosun, with due respect. My apologies there. Bosun Oshifowora, a lawyer and a public affairs analyst, as well as Otumba Olabode Osenie, who is a UK-based media consultant and a public affairs analyst as well. Gentlemen, you're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much. And good morning for having me.
Indeed. Now, the question is, who is saying what? Are we being fooled by the presidency, or the government is lacking coordination and information management, as it were, as to whether amnesty is being offered again to Boko Haram, as the minister, a serving minister, Bonnie Haruna, coming out to say amnesty is on the cards. Let's start with you, Bosun.
Well, it's a sad situation in this country. We're witnessing something we've not seen before. The country is looking, the government is looking lost. They're rattled, obviously rattled by this Boko Haram sect. And it's very sad for the polity, it's sad for the people. Because one of the things that is characteristic with this government is every time there's something, you hear a cacophony of voices. This one will say one thing, another one. We can't even say there's amnesty right now because one part of the government is saying there is. Bonnie Haruna said it before the president. He didn't dispute. Now, Ruben Abati came out and said he's not like that, and he was trying to tie it to the speech of the president on Democracy Day, that if you read it line by line, you won't find any word that looks like amnesty. Fine, there was no word like amnesty in what he said, but what he said was not far from amnesty. He said those who have collaborated with international terrorists and want to cause chaos here, that the government is listening, wants them to come home, listen to them based on the findings of the committee for the northern states on peace, that they want to talk with them and they're ready to take them in. So what is that? That is not far from amnesty. So it's not a question of the word being used. It's what is being put across.
The intention.
The intention is obvious. Now, but I guess Ruben Abati came out when they made the offer and they saw that the insurgents didn't relent. There's been bombing. It's like it went on the increase. I think it's just a way of beating retreat and trying to say that, because people already came up and said, why would you offer them amnesty? What happens to the families of the dead? Are you sanctioning all they have said? So I think in an attempt to beat retreat, but he hasn't done that tactfully, and it makes it worse. The girls are still there. I mean, Obasanjo came up with his own just a few days ago, said the president he practically didn't know anything until 18, 19 days after. Those are not good stuff for the country. And we practically don't know our fate. The military is confused, the executive is confused, the legislators are there battling themselves. This word judiciary, I mean, this is sad, but it's just not good for the country. And
let me share with you an excerpt from Mr. President's speech on Democracy Day. He says, for citizens who have joined hands with Al-Qaeda and international terrorists in the misguided belief that violence can possibly solve their problems, our doors remain open to them for dialogue and reconciliation if they renounce terrorism and embrace peace. Now, let me come to you now, Otumba. What do you think is the difference, possibly a thin line, between dialogue and reconciliation and the word amnesty at this time?
Thank you. Before we get there, let's talk about the organization that is such in its terrible settings, very badly managed. In any organization, I don't even talk of a government. As you speak in this corporate body here, there are settings here. And I have no doubt in my mind that even the driver of this organization is giving what he has to do. And if he does not do what he has to do, he's going to be in trouble. So if we now look at a government like the one we have here, and you now have a situation where an ordinary man on the street does not even know what is going on. The job of a government is to educate the ordinary people, the populace, to let them know the business of governance. But how can you get that when one media person is supposed to be the spokesperson for the president, the another one for the policy spokesperson of government, and the third one is supposed to be the minister in charge of everything, but you now have three different people saying three different things. How can that? People say when I was young, you cannot have two captains in a ship, because, Now, let's put that together. We cannot continue having this kind of settings and find solution to the problem. On one of the program, which I was last week, I was asked a question whether did I hear what the president said in his presidential speech. Do you know what my answer was? And I said to the president, you know what? I did not know anything about it. And he said, why? I said, I have no light. I told him point blank that I have no light. I can now imagine that millions of other Nigerians have no light to even listen to what their president is saying. All these are little things that put together that make the whole thing become mockery of the whole business of governance in this country. And the little time I've been on the ground here, I'm really sorry. Things are not done properly the way they're supposed to be. When I want to make this comparison, a newly elected street cleaner in Europe into Parliament is so informed. He has gone through the process. You understand me? And I also want to use the example of a Nigerian-born-based UK politician who is a spokesperson for business. You understand me? Shadow. Whatever he says, down the line up to the potential prime minister, who is the opposition leader, must be the same. They must be uniform. So all the parties, all the party members now understand at least what the policies, what the roles of all these people are. You cannot be fitting me. I can cope because of my level of education. I can cope and say I can decipher what the commission, I mean the person in charge of media is saying, and the other one is saying. But what about the ordinary people?
Would you suggest that this is as a result of information overload because there's so much coming from everywhere?
No.
That we are unbalanced?
No, it's not. It's not information overload. How many information is coming in that they are being overloaded?
No, with respect to security, there is several. SSS got information. The United States governments, those on ground, the FBI. There's so much so much going on that it fuzzles those in government. Don't you think?
No, I think the problem is multiplicity of job at the government level. Let's break it down. Donyo Kupe disseminates information. Ruben Abati disseminates information. Mike O'Mary
Labramako
disseminates. Labramako is there. There should be one person. 4 people collecting money, taxpayers' money, doing one job just to disseminate information. What's there in information dissemination? In fact, with all this many people at the helm of affairs, you have confusion. That I mean, what minister is saying something, the press secretary is saying another thing. You have too many people doing one job.
So who is confused?
The government is confused. It's obvious.
Let's look at the trend from delayed response to the abduction of the Chibok girls. It took government about 18 days to boycotting the Chibok visit. You recall that Mr. President was expected at Chibok, and then later on, Ruben Abati says there was no such thing in the president's itinerary. To mutiny in the military, to the statement made by the Chief of Defense Staff, you know, disconnect now between, even within the Mr. President cabinet. What do you think the implication of all of this would be on the fight against terrorism in Nigeria?
Are you giving the terrorists a field day?
Absolutely.
You play already into their hands. Here we have a situation, and like I said on this program about 2 weeks ago, we're having a situation that's very easy to capture, very easy to deal with. Now, the terrorism we are talking about, they scattered all over the place, but they're using their phone lines. They are spending our money. They are even taking away the food that's supposed to be given to the villages. They go there to burn houses. They do whatever they like. And how can you sort a problem out when the people that are supposed to be there, and you're talking of many information, what are you talking about? In America, there's CIA, FBI. In the UK, there's MI1, MI16, MI so on and so forth. But they work together. Together, you cannot afford to lose one small information. You understand me? You need to be together. As long as we continue parading ourselves like people who are not serious, these people will take advantage of the situation. And that's exactly what is happening here. We're looking, by the time you say, okay, Sambese, whatever they are, their headquarters, by the time you want to go there, they already get the information. On which of these networks, Glo, MTN, or what's the other one? Etisalat. Are they not using our phone? Are they not using network? Why? And at the end of the day, like my friend here said, we're just being the business. We are too good in business of squandering money that's supposed to be used for good roads, housing, electricity. And every time you become a member of government in this country, they personalize it.
Should the government offer amnesty to either of these people?
Amnesty to these people?
Why not?
Number one, let's get it right. And I made also the same example. If you have a child who has been bothering you for one or two things, principally for maybe a new kit or whatever, and maybe because you have not got the money, I will link it up. And suddenly you have the money and you say, you know what, GD, come. What exactly are we talking about? You want a new kit, a new boot, whatever, I'm going to give it to you, but stop misbehaving. Okay? So that means you have in one hand, yeah.
An agreement of sorts.
Yeah.
Contractual.
Yes. Now, we have this situation at hand. And I've said, once we refuse to deal with the cause of the problem, we cannot get solution. The cause of the problem here, we need to deal with the cause of the problem before we can start talking about the solution.
Exactly.
And why is it so difficult? And some people will say, people in Delta, they got amnesty. Yes, there was a round table, a meeting or conference. The problem was put on the table, and we know who we are talking to, and subsequently they agreed. They agreed to drop their weapons, and after the weapons have been collected, whatever, exchanged, today at least we have peace in that part of the world, because we know exactly what the problem was and we are dealing with it. So we cannot run away from the problem of Boko Haram. Boko Haram is not only in Nigeria. Terrorism is all over the world. But the type of the terrorism we are having here, before you can offer them amnesty, we need to say, let us sit down. And the committees upon committees, like he said here, we're just wasting time and money. No, let's set one committee and the people know these people. And that's why I said, when you phone now, we are coming to hit them. They're already gone before we get there. Even they've already put fire on many of the places. So to offer them amnesty, we need to sit them down and talk to them and deal with the core issue. The core issue you and I probably know.
But so would you suggest that this problem that Olabode was talking about, would you suggest these problems are known to all of us? Do we know the problem of Boko Haram?
We know the problem, but we have only misdiagnosed the problem. This is a sect that started like any other sect. I mean, well, we knew when they came on, okay, the guy that was killed, their head. Now, then the thing they just left it unattended. And the thing had taken a different dimension, a hydra-headed dimension. That right now, even the government is confused as to what they want. Now, the same Boko Haram who said that Western education, they don't believe in it, it's not good. They use some Western things, they use phones and all that. Now, so it shows you that. Now, the same Boko Haram who is saying that they want to Islamize the entire country just killed an emir who is a symbol. Yes. Now, so it shows you that the government has misdiagnosed the problem. I saw on CNN a few days ago, there's a particular guy, one Sunni guy, that's been coming in. They said he's one of their negotiators and all that. And I don't know what the government has done with the guy. When the girls' the issue with the girls came up, we're hearing all kinds of things. President said he's not supposed to go there. It's a confused government. And it's sad. It's sad for the nation. You know, somebody told me and gave me 2 days ago and said, what if we're at war with another country? That for all you care, Benin will just finish us.
Walk over.
These are, I don't know. I don't know how many the Boko Haram guys are, but I don't think that there are more than 10,000 or they're up to 10,000.
Beyond identifying the problem, is also the question of identifying the people, the identity of Boko Haram. Mr. President, during a town hall meeting in Damaturu, says you cannot declare amnesty for ghosts. Boko Haram still operates like ghosts, so you can't talk about amnesty for Boko Haram now. But then, talking about ghosts, on the front page of the Punch this morning, we were talking about Canon Dr. Stephen Davis, who happens to be the negotiator. He's from Australia. If there's a negotiator between the federal government and this people called Boko Haram, how true is the word ghost in this context?
If I could just quickly comment. The government is not serious. I've never seen this kind of thing in my life, but this is an unserious government. You just said, now, we all know that I mentioned, Sonny, they've been talking to some people. Now, when they hit a brick wall, they run back and claim ghosts. Then the next minute they'll go back again and talk to them. If there's anybody that is not serious, we know Boko Haram is not playing. They are serious. They have a business, they have an agenda, and they are pursuing it. But the person who is supposed to counter them, which is the government, they're the ones who don't know what they're doing. So that's the problem.
Also, in addition to all this, you cannot be fooling the people. It's got to get to a point where ordinary people will say, enough is enough. And this is no exception to what is going here or other places of the world. Now, you're talking, who are these ghosts you're talking about? The main problem the Boko Haram people want to deal with is the issue of Islamization of certain part of the country, which is the north. We know that. And they're also talking about Western education, which you just mentioned, is also on their list. But then again, the most important part of it all, the most important part, the cause, the main cause here, that I think no matter how many times you deal with them, is the poverty. Poverty on the ground. We need to deal with the poverty on the ground. It is a main cause to many things. Why? Because you're having a situation like Nigeria and another country that has similar system like Senegal with Almajiri people. You need to educate them, even if they want really Islamic. There's Islamic scholars in this place, they are professors. Give them very good education and get them jobs.
But Otuba, poverty is not peculiar to northern Nigeria alone. Isn't there poverty in southwest as well?
Yes, but it probably is well managed here. Because when I will tell you this. I've been here since February, and I've taken upon myself where I stay. Every time I have friends, this is my interesting. I've tried to check their sugar level and their BP. In this country, they have the best BPs. Their BP is super. Super.
Oh, yes.
Very good. So, if you are saying poverty is also in here, it is more managed here than in the north. And I'm sorry, this is not being anything, sectional or anything. So, at the end of the day, the core problem of these people, what they're asking for, they are saying we need to talk about Islamization of our area. Also, we want this education or that education. And we have people, and I said it on this program in the same studio here, we have people we can send to them. We have 5 living generals. I mean, the best generals are from the north. We have people who are former president. Let us use it. Let us tap into there and say, please,
go and talk to these
them,
insurgents
please.
For us.
Now, we're playing with lives. We are doing things that are not supposed to be heard of anybody in the whole world. Now, there are 270 or 280 children, girls, whose life we don't even know. And because another thing that I found on the ground here is human life here is virtually nothing. On my way here, sorry, let me finish.
Yes.
On my way here, there was an accident, somebody was knocked down. And why? Because I've traveled the only bridge. Is any bridge there at all?
No.
These are little things. Let us talk about it.
It's all right.
Yeah, there are no overhead bridges there. And it's not enough argument for me to say, oh, when there's overhead bridge, they don't use it. Then put as many overhead bridges there as possible. How much does it cost? All these are things, one life is gone there, too many.
But unfortunately for Nigerians, we have been careful enough not to be divided along ethnic and religious lines on this issue. But in a quick reaction to this topic of amnesty, the Bauchi chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria have immediately kicked against the idea of amnesty. Now, the reason for them is that the whole idea of insurgency has a relationship with the 2015 agenda of Mr. President, beyond all the other issues that we've discussed. How realistic do you think this is, politics and insurgency in Nigeria?
Let me start from your first point. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a spiritual dimension to it, but somehow we don't have ethnic issues. We don't even have religious issues here. Nigerians, we have found ways somehow. That part I cannot explain, but somehow we have found a way of just living in harmony. But I feel a few disgruntled elements in politics who have some amount of money are actually the ones trying to mess around with the brains of Nigerians. Seriously. Because I've been to the north a few times. I've had cause to do one or two things there, though I didn't stay for a longer period of time, but you hardly find the ethnic divide thing on the street. People go about their businesses.
So suggestively, it's a political maneuver.
It's a serious political maneuver. And it's sad that it's just a few people that are behind this thing. Now, when the Khan came out, the Bauchi chapter of Khan came out, I said something earlier on. When you grant amnesty, you don't just go ahead and offer amnesty like that. What have you done to placate the families of the dead? Because the implication of amnesty is that you're closing your eyes to justice and you're just going ahead and let's just solve this problem anyhow. Okay, this is what you want. We give you your bread, like you said. Okay, don't be a bad boy again. Just take the bread, go. Now, but the boy you've given the bread has caused some people's problems. Lives have been lost, properties have been lost, and we're still counting. Now, so the chapter, the Khan chapter, the Bauchi chapter has a right to come out and say that. You don't do that.
Would amnesty be justiciable if the other side of the divide is considered, the dead, victims of the dead,
nothing
families
has been
of the
done?
dead?
Otumba just said something. The premium we place on human lives in this country is non-existent. And it's very sad. People die every day. Imagine the president coming to say that it was not on his agenda to go to where people have been abducted. Is one life more superior than the other? So somebody doesn't want to die, but it doesn't mind other people dying.
His explanation was that his primary responsibility at that time was to bring them back, and the girls obviously were not in Chibok after all.
Just last week. Sorry, just last week.
Gentlemen, before we get on to, because there will be opportunity to go into that a particular area which we will have to explore even more in detail. But let's say to our viewers, I do hope you're following us. You're putting on your comments on our Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com CORETV News. On the Twitter handle as well, at CORETV News NG. That's our Twitter handle. We hope you got your comments for us, and some of it we'll be reading when we come back. We're going to take a short break now for the end of this segment. The news will come thereafter. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We're still here.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as weak, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CORETV News.